All right, thanks, guys. The Jazz take on the Hornets. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off in Charlotte. The Charlotte Hornets open the betting as the 2-point favorite, and total at 217 even. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a slight fade of Charlotte on their home court. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. Charlotte's now minus 1.5, with the total moving downward to 215 and a hook. So once again, the Hornets open 2 down to 1.5. Total open 217 down to 215 and a hook. And at the moment, Charlotte is minus $1.25 for some money line cash. Now, just keep in mind that Charlotte is 14-7 against the number overall for the year. They've also successfully covered the number in 8 out of their last 11 on their home court. Meanwhile, on the Utah side of things, not so good as of late. They're just 2-4 straight up in their last 6. They've also dropped 6 out of their last 9 straight up as well. Utah also 2-1 to the over in their last 3. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, slide it down, and take Charlotte minus 1 and the over 215.5 in this one. And with that said, I just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the show. I got some lines and personal leans out for Friday's NBA action. The weekend is already here. Happy Friday to you. I know I got big plans today, and I'm going to have a lot of fun and be very, very busy. But anyway, happy Friday to each and every one of you. The weekend's here. Hopefully you make a lot of money this weekend. But anyway, I just want to quickly remind you during this time out to just check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017 last year, you're certainly costing yourself some valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content on that website there as well. So once again, please feel free to just pause that video right now, open up your browser, and type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a couple of minutes. The link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching me right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and hop right back into some more lines and personal leans. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Bulls, Pistons. 7 o'clock tip-off in Detroit. The Pistons open the betting as the 9-point favorite, and the total at 217.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a little movement toward Detroit, about a 0.5 point move upward. We're also seeing some movement downward on the total. Right now, Detroit's minus 9.5, with the total moving downward to 217 flat. So once again, Detroit opened 9 up to 9.5. Total open 217.5 down to 217 even. And at the moment, the Pistons are minus 500 for some money line cash. Now, Detroit is just 4-6 against the spread this year, laying the points. They've also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7 as the official home favorite. Meanwhile, on the other side, Chicago's 2-0 against the number in their last couple of games. They're 11-10 ATS as the official underdog, catching the points this year. Meanwhile, Detroit 5-1 to the over in their last 6 at the current total. So with all that said and done, give me Chicago plus 10 after buying the 0.5 point and the over 217 in this one. All right, next game, Cavaliers, Celtics, 7 o'clock tip-off in Boston. The Celtics open the betting as the 13.5 point favorite, and the total at 209. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a steady and consistent fade of Boston in the early going here. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. Right now, Boston is minus 12, with the total moving downward to 208 flat. Once again, Boston opened 13.5, now 12. Total open 209 down to 208. And at the moment, Boston is the $10 favorite for some money line cash. Now, Boston's really struggled against the number this season. They've only covered in 8 out of their 21 ball games overall for the year. They've also dropped 4 out of their last 6 straight up as well. Meanwhile, on the Cleveland side of things, they're 12-8 to the under, 6-4 to the under in their games on the road. So with all that said and done, give me Cleveland plus 12 in the under, 208 in this one. All right, next game, Wizards, Sixers. 7 o'clock tip-off in South Philly. The Sixers open the betting as the 7-point favorite, and the total at 235. And since those markets opened this one up, we are seeing movement toward Philadelphia on the spread. We're also seeing slight movement downward on the total. Right now, Philadelphia is minus 7.5. Total moved downward to 234 and a hook. So once again, Philly opened 7, now 7.5. Total open 235, down to 234 and a hook. And at the moment, the Sixers are minus 330 for some money line cash. Now, Washington has failed to cover, really traveling poorly when it comes to their backers. They've failed to cover in 8 out of their last 10 ball games away from home. Meanwhile, Philadelphia 6-1 straight up in their last 7 ball games. This Philadelphia squad is 67% to the over in their games at the Wells Fargo Center. So with all that said and done, I'm going to purchase the hook, slide it down, and take the 76ers minus 7 and the over 234.5 in this one. Next game, Grizzlies Nets. 7:30 tip-off in Brooklyn. The Grizzlies open the betting as the 1-point favorite. The total at 211.5. And since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises here as Memphis is taking a little money here. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. Right now, Memphis is minus 2 with the total moving downward to 210.5. So once again, Memphis open 1, now 2. Total open 211.5 down to 210 and a hook. And at the moment, the Grizz are minus 130. For some money line cash. Now, Brooklyn's really struggled to cover the number on their home court. They're just 3-7 ATS at home this season. Meanwhile, on the Memphis side of things, they're covering 67% of their games when laying the points. Memphis is also 75% to the over in their games at the current posted total. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Memphis minus 2 and the over 210.5 in that one. Next game, Pelicans Heat. 8 o'clock tip-off in Miami. The Pels open the betting as the 3-point favorite, and the total at 229.5. And since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises here as New Orleans is taking a little early money here. We're also seeing early movement downward on the total as well. New Orleans is now 3.5 with the total moving downward to 229 flat. Once again, the Pelicans open 3 up to 3.5. Total open 229.5 down to 229 even. The Pelicans are minus 165 for some money line cash. Now, New Orleans has struggled to cover the number in certain spots this year. They're just 4-7 against the number in their games on the road. They've also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7, taking on winning ball clubs. Meanwhile, on the Miami side, they're 2-1 against the number in their last 3 ball games. Miami's also 65% to the over in their games overall for the year. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward an underdog in this one. Give me Miami plus 4 after buying the 0.5 point, and the over 229 in this one. All right, next game, Rockets, Spurs. 8 o'clock tip-off in San Antonio. The Spurs open 1.5, total 217.5. Since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a slight fade of San Antonio. We're also seeing movement downward on the total as well. San Antonio is now minus 1 with the total moving downward to 217 even. Now, Chris Paul, questionable tonight with a hammy. I'm really not looking for him to participate. But as far as the injury report, CP3 is questionable with a hamstring. Houston is also just 35% against the spread overall for the year. They're covering just 36% of their games away from home. Meanwhile, on the San Antonio side of things, they're 5-4 against the spread in their games at home. They've also successfully covered the number in 2 out of their last 4 ball games. Now, both teams are 60% to the over in their games respectively overall for the season. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean San Antonio minus 1 and the over 217 in this one. All right, next game, home stretch here. Hawks Timberwolves. Hawks Thunder, I'm sorry. 8 o'clock tip-off in OKC. OKC open 13.5 down to 13. Total open 225 up to 228. OKC's the $12 favorite on the money line. OKC is 12-8 against the spread overall. 73% against losing ball clubs. Meanwhile, on the Atlanta side, they're 2-11 straight up in their last 13 ball games. OKC 40% to the over in their games overall for the year. Give me OKC minus 13 and the under 228 in that one. Next game, Magic. Suns, 9 o'clock tip-off in Phoenix. A little flip of the lines in this one. Orlando open +1, now -1. Total open 217.5 up to 219. The Magic are minus 120 for some money line cash. Now Orlando's 70% to the over in their games on the road. Meanwhile, this Phoenix defense is allowing 109 points per contest or more in their last 7 straight. Now, when it comes to the scoring, Phoenix is 70% to the under in their games at home. Orlando 13-9 to the under overall for the year themselves. So with all that said and done, I'm going to go ahead and I'm sorry, my opening stat was incorrect. I said Orlando was 70% to the over on the road. I'm sorry. They're covering 70% of their games on the road. They're covering 70% against the spread on the road. Sorry, I botched that one. All right, so with that said, I'm going to take Orlando -1 and the over 219 in that ball game there. All right, next game, Nuggets Trailblazers 10:30 Portland. Portland open 2.5, now 2. Total open 214.5, down to 214 flat. Portland's -125. Portland 64% against the spread at home, 67% against the spread at the current price, at the current number. Meanwhile, on the Denver side of things, they're 4-5 against the spread in their games on the road. Their offense is putting up just 105 points per contest away from home as well. Now, scoring-wise, Portland's 5-1 to the over in their last 6. So with all that said and done, give me Portland -2 and the over 214 in that one. Next and final game for the show, it is going to be Dallas Lakers 10:30 Los Angeles. LA open 3, now 3.5. Total open 222 up to 223. The Lakers are -155 for some money line cash. The Lakers have been pretty good against the number this season. 13-8 ATS overall. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. 8-13 ATS overall for the year. That's on me. 8-13 ATS overall for the year. For the Lakers, they're also just 6-10 against the number, laying the points. Meanwhile, on the Dallas side of things, they're 13-6 against the spread overall. They're covering 73% of their games, catching the points. Meanwhile, the Lakers 8-3 to the under in their games at home. So with all that said and done, give me Dallas +4 and the under 223 in this one.